studio, and as I was getting in my car, Chris walks out, and he says, the power's back on out here at Sonny's Patio Pub and Refuge.
Hold up, you got to set this up better. You had zero faith. You said, I am out of here. And that's kind of like you relayed
You said, hey, let's wait 2 minutes.
And it was 2 minutes and a half.
Right.
So I had faith to believe that the lights were going to come on. Don't we need to have that same thing for the Tennessee Titans? It looked like the lights are out. We got to believe.
I think about it like this.
Okay, let's go.
Tonight is the 6th night of Hanukkah.
Okay.
The story of Hanukkah is they only had enough oil for one night, and then that oil lasted to give them light for 8 nights. And so maybe I should have had faith that we in this town have enough oil to power the team, including the game today at noon against the Texans, in which the mayor has publicly asked the Titans to postpone today's game due to the power outages around the city. That is none of my business. I have no idea if the mayor asks the team and the team says yes. I mean, I don't know.
The Titans don't have no generators?
But the Titans aren't going to say yes. They're going to play this game at noon. So here come the Titans. You know what I'm calling today's game, Chris Sanders?
What you going to call it?
You know these streaming services like Disney Plus and ESPN Plus and Paramount Plus? This is preseason plus. Today's game is essentially a preseason game. In order for the Titans to make it to the playoffs before the Week 18 game against Jacksonville, the Titans would have to win this week and next week, and Jacksonville would have to lose next week to the Texans. That's not very likely to happen. So the reality is that no matter what happens over the next 2 games for the Titans, they are most likely to be playing the Jaguars in Week 18 for a trip to the playoffs. The winner will win the AFC South. The loser most likely will go home. And I say this because right now the Titans are totally battered. They're going to have a team out there that's like a preseason team. They're playing a team in the Texans that have all their injuries and are terrible, so that's kind of like a preseason team. And the Titans have got to spend the next 2 weeks, in my opinion, doing whatever it takes to get them ready to go for the Week 18 game against Jacksonville. Whether that's Malik Willis at quarterback or not, that's what I think the next 2 weeks are going to be for the Titans. Again, it's not the preseason because Derrick Henry's going to play and the games technically count and people are going to be there. But it really is kind of the preseason, and the Titans have 2 weeks to get it figured out before they take on the Jags in Week 18.
I mean, it is. I mean, everything you're looking at the Titans, it looks really, really bad. And I like to give quotes. Vrabel said this earlier in the season. He said, we don't panic, we don't crumble, we're built for this. We're going to see if this team is really built for it because you have everything against you. You have the offensive line. We don't know who's going to play offensive line. We got Burks coming back. We got a quarterback that's inexperienced. We got a defense that hasn't been playing up to his expectation. So are you really built for this? We're going to see if they're built for this because we talk about it at the beginning of the season. We talk about it in the middle of the season. They say they believe. They say they built for this. We're going to actually see, are they really built for this, going through that adversity is actually what's going on.
Now, there's another developing story today on the front of the Titans.
Not anymore.
And that involves the quarterback. And so Ryan Tannehill out this week against the Texans. The Titans have not placed Ryan Tannehill on IR. Paul Kaharski reported earlier this week that Tannehill was likely out for the season. Those reports were confirmed by Joe Rexrode and by TD. And yet Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, reported last night Ryan Tannehill had the tightrope surgery on his high ankle sprain and could, in fact, as Rappaport reported this morning, be back for Week 18 against Jacksonville. Here's what Ian Rappaport said.
Meanwhile, for the Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill, remember there was all those reports earlier in the week about being done for the season. Ryan Tannehill, not a big fan of those reports. My understanding is he took a stealth mission down to Birmingham, Alabama, to the Andrews Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center to have tightrope surgery to fix his high ankle sprain. It is not a given, but his plan, his hope, his mission is to be back for Week 18 against the Jaguars in what could be a win-and-in massive game, Chris, for the Titans.
Okay. Then Adam Schefter reported this morning a conflicting report in which Adam Schefter said that Ryan Tannehill will not play again during the regular season, and it is considered unlikely that he would be able to return in the postseason per a league source. So one guy says he's going to try to make it back for Week 18. The other guy says he's not coming back for Week 18. What do we make of that?
You know, that's just a tough deal. I know we're talking about Week 18. We need to worry about Week 15.
Well, this week doesn't matter, though.
I'm just saying.
This game does not matter.
I mean, I know it doesn't matter, but the thing about it is just say if the Tennessee Titans lose, then now the pressure's on them that they have to beat the Cowboys.
No. These 2 games, that's why they're preseason plus. They don't matter.
I mean, I know, but okay, let me break this down to you. What if the Titans lose this game and they lose to the Cowboys?
And then they beat the Jags?
And they beat the Jags.
They're in.
How would they be in?
That's just how the standings work.
Wait a minute. You got me confused, man.
Okay. All right. Follow me here.
Yeah.
If the Titans win these 2 games.
I said if they lose these 2 games.
No. Just follow me here.
Yeah.
If the Titans win these 2 games.
Right.
And Jacksonville beats Houston next week,
okay.
which they will.
Yep.
And then the Titans play the Texans in the Jags in the last game and lose. Jacksonville's in.
Okay.
If the Titans win these 2 games and Jacksonville loses next week to Houston, which they won't,
right.
but Jacksonville loses next week to Houston, then the Titans win the division and the Week 18 game doesn't matter.
Okay.
If the Titans lose these 2 games and then they play Jacksonville and they win, they're in.
Okay.
So it really, unless the Jags are going to lose to the Texans next week, it all comes down to Week 18.
But
this is what I make of this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be incredible if Ryan Tannehill was able to return 20 days after the tightrope surgery.
Absolutely.
The tightrope surgery comes with a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks. So you're talking about 28 days as the minimum. And Tannehill's going to try to come back 20 days after having the surgery. For a 34-year-old, that just doesn't seem very feasible.
Absolutely.
So the way I look into that is they've got an outside chance if Malik can find his way into the playoffs. They've got an outside chance that Tannehill would return for the wild card weekend. And again, key there being the outside chance. And I think the other thing I make of it is I think Rappaport is getting his info from Tannehill's camp.
Yeah.
When he says, Tannehill didn't like those reports, I think Schefter, Paul, TD, and Joe are getting their reports from the team.
Well, let me ask you this question. With the offensive line that we're talking about today, with Davis and Radis and Jones been out, would you even want Tannehill to be in that position? Because we already know that. Why?
Because he gives you the best chance to win.
But see, the thing about it is,
okay,
with the offensive line struggling, and a lot of times, a lot of defenses are going to bring a lot of pressure, and you can't move as a quarterback. Don't you want a mobile quarterback that can extend the play and make something happen?
I don't want a mobile bad quarterback.
I know, but the thing about
and he's bad.
Yeah, he's bad. I mean, he can't throw the ball well. But the thing about it is, I would rather have a quarterback that can move around a little bit in the pocket. With Tannehill, if you have a bad ankle and you have to make something happen, it's going to be tough for him to make something happen with that ankle injury. I'm just saying that I want a quarterback that can at least try to make something happen to where he's athletic enough to try to elude the front that's coming. So with Tannehill, you look, he a couple of weeks ago, he looked like a statue back there sometime because his ankle is in pain. That now you re-injure it and you can't move even more.
He led them back to victory last week. Do you think Malik could have done that?
I don't think he could have done it. I'm just talking about what's going on with the offensive line now, because a lot of those guys that were playing offensive line now are not in. You got Davis is out. You got Radins is out, who's not a good offensive line. I mean, now you have your center out. So what I'm saying is,
if Ryan Tannehill is healthy, to the point of being allowed to play.
No, I'm not saying he's not going to be 100% healthy.
No,
even if he comes back
just hear me out.
Yeah.
If he is cleared to play and he wants to play, he plays. I don't care if I'm blocking for him. He plays. He's the starting quarterback of this team. It's not like, the Titans have a future to protect with Ryan Tannehill.
No, I understand.
You know what I mean? It's not like he's 22 and that they're, worried about the next 10 years of his career. Mm-hmm. If Ryan Tannehill can come back for the Week 18 game, which, again, Rappaport says he's going to try.
Okay.
Schefter says he doesn't have a chance. I believe it would be ridiculous if Ryan Tannehill were to come back 20 days after having the tightrope surgery, when, again, the minimum is usually 28. I think that at 34 years old, that would be insane if he were able to do that. So I'm not expecting it. But if Tannehill is healthy for Week 18, Tannehill plays. If Tannehill is healthy for the wild card round, Tannehill plays because he's better than Malik. Malik stinks. And I think we're going to see that over the next 2 games, that Malik Willis is so in over his head, has no business playing quarterback right now for the Titans. True. He should be holding a clipboard. They should have had a backup quarterback behind Tannehill. They should have realized this very early in the offseason. But, so to me, I don't think that there's much really of a discussion about who should play quarterback. I think the bigger question is is it really possible that Ryan Tannehill could come back on an injury, a surgery that is a 4 to 6, minimum 4-week recovery, and you're going to tell me that Ryan Tannehill is going to come back in 2.5? That I can't see.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying is even though he comes back and we have Tannehill.
I don't think he can.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying put it in general right now. But just say he did come back. You just made a great point.
And he plays.
Is he going to be effective like the old Tannehill? That's the point that I'm making.
He's going to be better than Malik Willis.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Look at when they played against the Chargers last week, right?
Okay.
And why did the field goal kicker miss the field goal? Because what?
Because they gave up a sack?
Because they gave up a sack. Why did they give him a sack? It's because Tannehill couldn't move around in the pocket. If he just moves around the pocket.
That's not why they gave up a sack. They gave up a sack because the wide receiver chipped the guy to the outside, and so he was able to get around Daly and hit the quarterback.
Absolutely, but check this out. If you got your quarterback in there, Willis, to where he might not see it, but at least he can elude it and throw the ball away.
Chris, Willis got an intentional grounding call on a free play.
I know he did, but listen.
Do you realize how bad that is?
But what you're saying is, that's very bad.
Did you realize how bad that is?
That's very bad. But what I'm saying is Ryan Tannehill is a weapon.
Show featuring Lenny.
Say you're Sean Payton. I'm going to read to you the jobs that are likely to be open. So the Broncos, we don't think the Raiders won. The Colts, the Texans, I think it's fair to say. The Cardinals, and then the Saints.
I actually saw, I don't know if it was coping or not. I saw a couple Saints fans being like, why doesn't Sean Payton just come back to the Saints?
Listen and subscribe to The Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey everybody, it's Kirk Herbstreit.
Hi, this is Bomani Jones from ESPN Radio.
Just want to wish everybody a happy holiday season
and a happy new year. Gonna get some company here in the studio. It's Countdown to Kickoff on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Presented by Progressive Insurance. Matt Schick down in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm Randy Scott up here in Bristol, Connecticut. We're expecting Mike Tannenbaum, our NFL front office insider, to join us momentarily. You look at this slate of games today, and you take the crown jewel out of this thing, and Eagles and Cowboys, and you look at other matchups that are interesting. We were sort of poking fun at the Vikings.
So we're back. Right.
See what
so
you,
we're
see
back
what you
at
did.
We're back at Sonny's Patio Pub and Refuge. I mean, these rolling blackouts. I'm not going to lie to you.
Never heard of it.
I don't know how we're going to do a show like this, but we're going to figure it out one way or another. Jared, did we take the first break technically?
Yes, absolutely.
No, we did not.
Okay. So we're talking about the Ryan Tannehill injury.
Yes,
we're talking about how one guy, Ian Rappaport, says that Tannehill's going to try to play for Week 18, which from the timeline of having the tightrope surgery doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Chris is on his rocker right now thinking that he thinks that Malik Willis gives the Titans a better chance to win, which he does not.
Don't say it like that.
That's what you said.
No, I'm saying